And we are on. So, yo, what's up, Benny? Good to see
What
you,
up? What
man.
up, man? It's good to be
What's up?
here.
What's up? So, real quick, for my audience who is tuning in right now, I have a guest, special guest, Benny Esco from Los Angeles. One of my good friends I've known for quite a few years, probably about what, 7 years now? I think so,
Yeah, just
around
about.
there, just about.
Mhm.
Um, Benny Esco. I met him in the very beginning when the wild, wild west of social media, when I say social media, I mean Instagram. When Instagram was just kind of gaining some momentum, people didn't really know what to do with it. People were just posting up some pictures, and there was a bunch of us simultaneously who had the idea of posting up inspirational, motivational content. And I was one of those people. Benny was already leading that adventure, that journey, and through the sharing of our content, we connected. And I had a main goal in mind, which was to expand my brand or to expand my message to create more followers. At that time, that's what was really important, was to create more followers. Um, and I wanted to expand my brand, expand my message. And I had no idea what I was doing with this. But when we connected, he had already organized a group called Global Shift. And it was kind of a little bit of a little secret society group on the low behind the scenes. And we were always connecting, frequently connecting, staying connected, helping each other out, helping each other grow our brands. And and yeah, man, like my account in the very beginning exploded like crazy, and our friendship exploded like crazy. And you and I, we hung out together a few times, got to know each other, and I got to hear your story, which was it's just goddamn profound. And to see where you came from and where you are now, and back then too, where you were back then compared to even where you're at now, it was pretty dope, man. It was pretty dope to hear about your story, and we connected in a lot of different ways. We collaborated quite a few times, and yeah, man, we even had some we even had some really good experiences, like doing acid together,
hmm
and
Some
hanging out as
LSD.
boy LSD, LSD, and hanging out as boys too, man. So like as you're my friend. You're also somebody who first time I ever did a live broadcast, which was on Periscope. I did that because of you. Did this because of Benny Esco. He was
I
like, bro,
remember
you have
that.
to do this, man. You have to do this because this is what we're heading into. We're heading into video content. You have to do this. I was like, man, I don't know, man. He's like, no, you have to do this. This is back in like 2000, probably 15, around there.
hmm
And so
hmm
I remember the first time I did that too. I came in dry. I left wet. I was sweaty. I was dripping. I didn't know what the hell just happened. My mouth was dry, but you were there to support me, man. And I still I thank you to this day for that, because that just introduced me into a whole entire different world where I'm at now. But anyways, yeah, man, this is Benny Esco, and this is my interpretation of him. This is my perception of him. He's a real down to earth motherfucker. Who, if you're his friend, he has your back 110%, and he'll do anything for you. Um, Especially when it comes to hard conversations and just being there as a buddy, as a friend. And he's somebody who has I've seen, just from knowing him, I've seen him transform his mind like crazy. Just in the small amount of time, well, 7 years. In the last few years, I've seen his mind transform like crazy. And to see where he was at before compared to where he was at when I first met him is insane. It's insane. So this dude knows what's up. He knows a lot about personal development. He knows a lot about doing that deep shadow work, and he knows a lot about dancing with your goddamn demons. And so
Oh
this is
yeah.
Benny Esco, man. Introduce yourself, brother.
What's going on, fam? Um, I'm just another soul um, having a beautiful human experience, just as you are. Those who are listening to this audio or tuning into the video, um, and I'm here to share not I don't want to say my message, but the message that flows through me, um, and that comes from divine intelligence, that comes from the universe, God, source, whatever name you want to put on it. And I'm just a conduit. I'm a conduit for this light energy, and it's such a beautiful journey to be on. And yeah, I come from a rough background. Both my parents were involved in gangs. I grew up in East LA, East Los Angeles, California. And I witnessed a lot of violence. Before I was even born, my dad was shot 5 times while I was in my mother's stomach at 6 months. And my programming started at a very, very young age, right? Before I was even born. So all the trauma and the worry and the fear that my mother experienced on that day, throughout that week, throughout that month, I experienced. So, that alone is bad enough. But, I was raised in a gang culture where I saw a lot of violence, drugs. Um, I've been to plenty of funerals. I've been in plenty of fights. I myself, when I got older, I committed a lot of crimes. I've stolen over a dozen vehicles. I've hurt a lot of families. I've been stabbed, been to the hospital, been to the jails, um, and I've gone through some dark experiences. I've been in jacked up relationships, and I learned a lot from my past, and I'm thankful for everything that I've been through. Without all those dark experiences, without all those lessons, right? I wouldn't be where I'm at, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. It's because of that dark past, that beautiful dark past of my life, of my experience, that has guided me or pushed me towards more light and love, right? Because I got tired of experiencing bullshit in my life. I got tired of the negative outcomes in my life. And so I knew in my heart, somewhere within my being, something was telling me that there's more, that there has to be more to this life than this dark crap that I was constantly experiencing throughout, half of my life. And so I've come to understand that if darkness can dominate the first half of my life, then why not? Why can't light and love dominate the rest of my life? Right? Because that's what I want to experience now. So um, that idea has driven me to where I'm currently at and what I'm currently doing, and has promoted the way I live. So I'm very grateful and thankful to be here in this moment, sharing my story and connecting with Rob, who is a very dear friend. As he mentioned, we got started in this social media game, 6, 7 years ago. And it's truly been a beautiful journey, as I mentioned earlier.
Dope, man. Super dope. Thank you, man. And dude, I have a question for you, man. Especially regarding like the darkness that you dealt with, because
Mhm.
it's super relatable, especially right now where we look at our world and we see it's very
Mhm.
easy just to see the darkness, right?
Oh, yeah.
um I want to go off of that, man. Like what, like, and not about the world, but just more about you. We're gonna get into the world, the world shit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I want to ask about your darkness and
Mhm.
how that has helped you see through all the layers right now in this world. How has what you've gone through and dancing with your own darkness, dancing with your own demons,
Mhm.
experiencing all the shit you went through, how has that transformed your mind to be able to pivot the way you've been able to pivot
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
current times?
Well, I will have to say that, number one, the darkness that I've experienced in my own life, because of that darkness, it has caused me to wonder, right? Back when, before I even got into personal growth and self development and reading books and listening to audios, it caused me to wonder about life. It caused me to question life itself, right? Like, uh, when I was stabbed, I was 26 years old. I was stabbed, I was jumped, and then I was stabbed, right? And that's a whole story just within itself. But that night, after waking up, all I could remember was a bunch of guys jumping me, right, hitting me from every angle, and and after, it felt like it was forever, right? It felt like it wasn't going to stop. And in my mind, I'm like, dang, when are these guys gonna like stop hitting me? And after, maybe a minute or two, however long it lasted, um, the hitting stopped. And like I rose up and I lifted up my head because I was covered. And I looked around and I could see no one. They all just ran. And I remember walking out towards the parking lot. And it was just me and two other guys. There's maybe like 15 guys. There was like 4 or 5 guys on one of my other friends, and there's like 4 or 5 guys on me. And I remember walking out into the parking lot, and there was another group of 4 or 5 guys walking from the street into the parking lot. And one of them made a smart remark and said, somebody got jumped with a smirk on his face, right? And that really pissed me off because I was already heated. My adrenaline was already up. So I pursued them. And him in particular, asking him where he was from, trying to get information because I didn't know these guys. I didn't know why I was getting jumped. So I was trying to understand, like, who are you and whatever, right? Anyways, I got close enough to where I was maybe like in running steps, maybe like 5 running steps away from these group of guys. And so I wasn't thinking about where my friends were or um who was around me or who was gonna back me up. I was just thinking about slugging this dude in his fucking mouth. And so I ran and took those 4, 5, 6 steps and I slugged him. And when I slugged him, I backed up and I went in again and I threw like 2 or 3 punches. And when I threw those 2 or 3 punches, everything just went into a daze. And it almost felt like someone grabbed a warm bucket of water or liquid and poured it over my head. And what that was my blood that was coming out of the side of my face, my temple. They stabbed me here. They stabbed me, or they hit me with something behind the head, and they got me in my back. Right, they stabbed me in my back, and so I felt this warm liquid pour over me. And as I'm turning, the freaking security guard sprays me with his mace,
Oh, shit.
and I don't even feel the mace because I'm just so dazed. I'm going out of it, right? I All I could hear was one of my friends telling another friend, we need to get this dude to the hospital. Like he's bleeding a lot. And so I remember getting into a car or being in a car. I don't remember getting into the car, but I remember being in the car. One of my friends has my head in his lap and he's holding, he's putting pressure on my wounds with the shirt. And I can see the lights. It's at nighttime. And I can see the street lights just zooming. And we're going down, I believe it was either Whittier or Beverly Boulevard. And we're going down and I can hear one of my friends telling the driver, just go through the red lights, go through the red lights, just go, take it, take it. And I'm thinking in my mind, like, oh my God, like if this dude crashes, that's it. I'm probably like, I'm not gonna make it. I'll be done. By the time I got to the hospital, by the time they got me to the hospital, I was already unconscious. And I woke up in the morning. One of my friends was there. And I, that morning, while I was waiting for a ride and trying to figure out what the hell happened, why did it happen? I realized that number one, I was hanging around the wrong people. Number two, um, I was making the wrong choices as far as how I was spending my time, what I was giving my time to, my energy to. And I just really realized that I was just tired of the shit. I was tired of going through those type of experiences, tired of seeing people getting shot, stabbed, tired of getting into fights. And I realized that I needed to make some changes. And it was because of like that's just one like main thing, right? There was many things throughout my childhood, throughout my teenage years, that just started causing me to like question life eventually. But it was that time when I was 26 years old that really caused me to make the decision to just start letting some friends go and just be with myself and make some changes that I know in my heart I needed to make. And that intention manifested one of my old friends who came into my life and introduced me to network marketing. And through network marketing, I was introduced to personal growth and self development and to direct mentorship. So when I was 27 years old, I read my very first book ever in my whole life. And that book is called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. After reading the first chapter, I couldn't put the book down. I wanted to read more. And literally like a week later, okay, and not to mention that during this time, right, I got stabbed 26, I'm 27 years old. My cousin gets murdered, and we know who shot him and murdered him. So now we're out looking for these dudes, and every single one of us is strapped with a gun, looking for these guys, getting information on where these guys could be at. So for a whole week, 2 weeks, the only thing I had in my mind was murder or death. Like either I was gonna shoot somebody or somebody was gonna shoot me, right? I even though I got stabbed and I was like, I need to make changes, my cousin being murdered kind of like put me back into that pattern. I'm like, oh nah, like I can't let that fly. Like I gotta do something, right? Revenge. I gotta go take one, I gotta hurt somebody. And so it put me back into that pattern. Um, and at the end of those 2 weeks, right, I read that book and then that happened. And then within those 2 weeks of going out and looking for these dudes and worrying about whether or not I was going to find them or they were going to find me first, and wondering whether or not who was going to shoot who first. And that thought pattern for a whole week or two led me to having dreams of me shooting people or me getting shot, like vivid dreams. I had a vivid dream of like a gun being pointed to my head and like the gun going off. You can see the white flash, and I wake up in a cold sweat. Like I'm sweating, my heart's pounding, like it's real. I'm like, holy shit, like, it was just bad, right? After those 2 weeks, within those 2 weeks, my friend, another friend of mine, who was also in the network marketing company that I was in at the time, introduced me to The Secret. He's like, hey man, you ever heard of The Secret? I'm like, no, what the hell's that? He goes, dude, he goes, my grandmother put me on The Secret, changed my life. And uh, that night when he told me about The Secret, he went on this like 5 hour conversation where he's talking about his dreams, his vision. And no one ever like talked to me in this form, in this way. And I'm sitting there, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. By the time he was done, the sun was rising. And I'm sitting at the edge of his bed and I'm like, dude, what got you thinking the way you think? And that's when he told me about The Secret. And he told me about a few books. And so that weekend, I went to the mall to go look for the books he mentioned and to go look for The Secret. I couldn't find, there was no bookstore. It was like Christmas time. There's a bunch of people. It was packed, the Montebello Mall. And I'm like, you know what? There's no bookstore. I'm just going to go home, whatever. Something told me to go up the escalator. I don't know if I saw a cute girl. I don't know what it was, but I was on my way out. And for whatever reason, I went up the escalator, right, onto the second floor. And after walking past two or three stores, I came across a video store. And I said, maybe they have the secret. So I go in there and I start looking through the documentaries and I can't find nothing. I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'm just gonna go home. So I start walking out. I'm like, wait a minute, let me ask the cashier. I walk up to the cashier and I go, excuse me, do you guys have the secret? And she goes, what do you mean, what the secret? I go, yeah, do you have the secret? Like, I guess the documentary. She goes, oh, the documentary. She goes, as a matter of fact, I remember seeing it yesterday. Come with me, I'll show you where it's at. So we go to the location where she remembers seeing it, but it's not there. So I'm like, damn. I'm like, okay, well, maybe, they're sold out. She goes, they're not sold out because it shows that there's one more left. Now, it's either somewhere in this store or somebody stole it. And I'm like, damn. Well, I got time. So I'm going to start looking through the store, right? She goes, I'll help you. But when someone comes up to the cashier, I'm going to have to, go attend to them. I'm like, cool. Within a few minutes, she goes, boom, I found it. The best documentary, the best CD, the best purchase that I've made, the best $24 that I spent in my life happened that day. I went home. I was dirty from work. Um, I didn't take a shower. I went straight into my room. I popped the CD into the computer. And the first few minutes of watching it, even though the information was so foreign to me, never have I heard anyone talking about energy or what you think about, you attract, right? The law of attraction. I never, ever came across that type of conversation ever in my life. So it was completely foreign. But something within me was telling me that this was good. Like, it was good information. It was good energy, right? I felt it made me feel good. That's all I knew. It made me feel good, and it made me feel a lot more positive about life. And even though I didn't understand it, something within me told me that this information was going to lead me somewhere better. And it did. It led me to reading more books. It led me into the commitment of my personal growth and self development. It led me into more light and love, right? Even though I wasn't perfect, I was still in my own shit, trying to, figure things out. But it led me towards where I'm at. So the darkness, because of that darkness, it, it forced me to shift, because either if I didn't shift and get out of that, I was either going to be dead, or I was going to take somebody out and I was going to be doing life in jail or something bad. And so I knew I had a shift. And when I started making that shift, I started experiencing better results or better experiences in my life, better outcomes in my life. And I was like, damn, there's something to this information. I don't fully understand it, but based on the little choices and decisions that I made because of the book I read and because of the audio I listened to and because of The Secret, the documentary I watched, and because of what I'm learning, it has led me to certain experiences that I'm liking, and it's causing me to feel good about myself, and other people are feeling good around me. And so um yeah, you know I'm thankful. I'm truly thankful for that dark um or those dark experiences or outcomes that I had to go through to get to where I'm at.
That's dope, man. Thank you for sharing that, dude. Hell yeah. And those dark experiences that you had, well, like you obviously had some turning points. Like there were,
Yes, many.
yeah, the many different little turning points.
Hmm.
And so like to ask the question again, like you have, there's certain things that you experience that like very dark, fucked up, crazy, is more fucked up in the moment because you're in the moment. You're like,
Yeah.
it's just it's just
Yeah,
fucked up.
you're just caught up in that chaos.
Yeah, hell yeah. And like after when the dust settles, you're like, damn, like I kind of needed that shit.
Yeah,
Like, I
for
mean,
sure.
I've never been stabbed, but like I imagine like that being stabbed changed my life. Like I needed that. It's hard to say like I needed that, but
Yeah.
it did shift you though. It did
Hmm.
something for real. It did
Oh
something.
yeah.
You
Oh
know what I'm
yeah. I was injected, right, with steel, with some hatred and darkness, and like it literally penetrated my body.
Sounds like a fucking vaccine. So yeah, but
Yeah. Exactly. We'll get into that later.
we'll get into that later. but um, but yeah, no, you went through these dark experiences, and when you compare that, not even compare it, but when you look at what's occurring now, and we'll get deeper into this, but when you look at what's happening in the world now, and there's a lot of dark shit happening right now. There's a lot of great shit happening too. There's a lot of wonderful
Oh
stuff
yeah.
happening too. However,
Mhm.
it's like because of who we are, we're multidimensional beings. We're
Mhm.
experiencing all aspects of life at the same time. We're gonna have dark moments. We're gonna have light moments. We're gonna have fucked up moments, right? And
Mhm.
I myself too have experienced a lot of my own dark shit as well. And I know personally that because, I can speak from experience here too. And this is what I'm asking you too as well. How did those dark experiences how have those dark experiences helped you navigate through the last year and a half, yeah, last year of what's been
Mhm.
happening in the
Mhm.
world?
Well, to keep it simple, those dark experiences helped me on my journey, right? It led me to information. It led me to under. It helped me understand, after watching The Secret and reading certain books and going through my own experiences. It helped me understand energy. It helped me to understand that if we focus on dark, negative energy, right? If we put our focus on dark, negative thoughts, dark, negative emotions, dark, negative actions, then we attract and we create, we manifest these outcomes that are aligned to this dark, negative energy. And also vice versa. If you focus on light and love, happiness, goodness, wellness, health, you focus on good energy, right? Your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, then those thoughts, emotions, and actions create good outcomes. And so um, that's just one aspect of it. Now we can get into the subconscious mind, because through my learning process, it took me, like when I first got into network marketing, they were trying to teach me about the subconscious mind, but I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. They kept on the subconscious mind, like this is where all your thoughts and all your perceptions and all, everything you've been taught since you were a child, and these were all your beliefs, right? Resided within your subconscious mind. I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, whatever. I understood the basics, right? And it wasn't until years of going through personal growth and going through a jacked up relationship not too long ago, a few years back, that really helped me understand not only energy, but the power of our subconscious mind. Because that relationship that I was in helped me to realize and become aware of a pattern that was happening because of an old subconscious programming that was given to me when I was a child, based on what I saw my mom and dad go through,
Mhm.
based on the type of woman my dad was towards my mom, based on the type of woman my mom was towards my dad, and based on the man that my dad was towards my mother. And I saw this pattern that they were experiencing happening in my own relationships. So something happened in my last relationship, which ended in 2000, the end of 2017. Within that 4 year, 5 year relationship, something happened, right? I was hurt. I was like, it was an ugly, it turned into an ugly type of relationship. Um, and it forced me to realize, it just brought everything together for me. It brought all the teachings and learnings, that all the lessons that I was obtaining and gaining. It helped me to put everything together, right? As far as energy, as far as the subconscious mind, as far as healing, as far as programming. And so the reason why I could navigate through now, right? Because just as I mentioned, before this recording, and I told you that, a month ago, I was in a dark place. Everything that was happening kind of consumed me, and I was just pissed off at watching this manipulation unfold, and watching people just go with um, this dark influence, right? This negative programming.
Hmm.
And besides being in that funk, um, thankfully, because I have certain tools that I use to, realign and readjust and reground my being. And so now I'm here, and the reason why I feel like I have an upper hand, so to speak, to the situation is because I understand fully what's taking place right now. People are being negatively programmed. The television and the radio stations, if you turn on a radio station and you allow it to play, within an hour, you're going to hear multiple commercials of a nurse or and someone that they hired to tell you that you should be fearful and you should worry. You should live in fear, doubt, and worry, and that you are disempowered unless you come and get this man-made chemicalized, who knows what the fuck is in it, injected into you. So there is a very dark force right now that is, I want to say, desperate. They're very desperate because this dark energy is being exposed. This is the way I see it.
Yeah.
It's being exposed, and they're desperate. Um, and it's a beautiful thing. And I'm not worried. I don't go out in a state of fear. I'm not worried about getting sick. I'm not worried about getting other people sick. Just uh, the other day, yesterday, actually, I went to Sprouts, and you know, I, as much as I want to walk in there, without a mask, um, I I do my best to avoid conflict. I don't want to deal with any unnecessary bullshit, right? So I wear it over my mouth, right? I don't put it all over my face and my nose and everything. It's like, look, I got it over my mouth. I'm not sneezing on you. I'm not talking to you. Like, just stay away from me. You're in your own funk. Just let me be. So I'm in Sprouts, and I respect everyone's beliefs. And if I see someone next to me that is in, like, literally in a state of fear because I don't have a mask on, I'll step away from them because I want to respect their fear, because I don't want to encourage whatever they fear to manifest for them, right? So I want to respect their space. So, anyways, I'm in line. The lady in front of me accidentally drops the hand sanitizer that's sitting on the counter, right? Falls to the floor. I reach down, I pick it up, I put it back. She says, thank you. The cashier says, oh, go ahead and use some. Go ahead and use some of that hand sanitizer. I go, no, I'm good. I like germs. I grew up putting pennies in my mouth, and I choose not to live in a state of fear and not worried about this shit. I'm good. Thank you, though. And I'm not saying this from, you know, uh, oh, I know better. It's just a knowingness that I have come to allow myself to be, to fully embrace, right? Um, and so my main focus is light, love, goodness, health, well-being. Yeah, there's a lot of chaos and a lot of fear being pumped out there, but can't pay it no mind. Because if you pay it mind and you give it your attention, you give it your focus, you give it your power. And once your power, your energetic, divine power, that each and every one of us who is listening to this podcast or watching this video has within you. This power is within us and all around us. I just want to encourage people to embrace that power, to remember that power that's within you, and understand that if you feed your mind with good energy, you feed your body with good energy, you feed your spirit with good energy, then your own personal reality will reflect that. Now imagine if we had millions of people reflecting or putting out this good energy, right? What type of shift that would create, what type of different reality we would experience out here in this world. So right now, yes, the dark energy, negative energy may have an upper hand because for the most part, they control mainstream media. They control what's being put out on the radio and they control what's being put out on television for now. Right now, they have slight of an edge, but I believe in my heart and in my being that light and love will overcome this darkness. It may take time, but it'll happen.
I got that. I got that, man. Yeah, man. Thank you for sharing all that too, man. And just kind of recap on certain things that you said here. Um, you uh, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? And let me know if I'm right too as well. Um, the chaos, like all the all let's just fucking talk. Like this is how we talk. All the bullshit you went through your whole
Mhm,
entire life, all that shit
mhm,
that you went through, all of your
mhm,
experiences you went through, that can be accurately defined as chaos. Accurately
sure,
defined as chaos. Yeah, for real.
absolutely.
Fuck yeah. And because of that chaos, that has um in a way, it's a part of your program in
Mhm,
a way that has you looking through the lens at the world, like through a specific lens at the world, and like what you're currently, what we're all currently dealing with, what you have dealt with up until this point.
mhm,
It has you looking through the lens of, I've I've been through a bunch of shit that's been worse than this. I've been
absolutely.
stabbed. I know my dad of being my dad was shot. Uh, grew up in that gang life. I've been jumped, like that whole life, and just I didn't even actually say where you're from. You're from what part of LA? You're from?
I grew up in East LA, East Los
East LA,
Angeles.
From East Los. So you grew up in East Los, right? East Los Angeles. Uh, it's fucking hard knocks out there, man. That's fucking hard knock shit right there. And
Yes,
like
sir.
you grew up in the hood, you grew up in chaos, and so given what's happening in the world and what's happened up to this point, you're not new to chaos. So when
No,
chaos happens, it's like,
no.
all right,
Uh,
motherfucker, let's dance. What's up?
yeah, I feel like I'm more prepared for it now than ever. I'm more prepared for any type of darkness that chooses to show up in my space, in my environment. I know how to adjust, adapt, and to
Yeah.
work through it.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I want to highlight too on that. And like everything else that you spoke about too after that, fuck yeah, I want to touch base on that too. There's a lot of people in the world that, and just to kind of point something out here too, you referenced something that you and I had talked about, being in a dark space. All right,
Mm.
for the audience sake, because they don't know about this, you and I had a conversation a few days ago. We were talking about this dark space that I had no idea you were going through. I shared a little bit of my shit that you had no idea that I was going through.
Right.
It was like, because I see you as a powerhouse, especially your mindset. Like you have a different mindset than other people, which is why like we connect, because like you know what's up. You know what's
Yeah.
up. And like when shit hits the fan, like you don't run. You don't run away from the fan. It's like, all right, let's figure out what's going on. Let's fucking work through
Right.
this. Like that's how at least I perceive you, right?
Right.
And that's how I perceive myself. So that's why I'm like, we connect a lot from that like realm.
Mhm.
Um, given that, God damn it, I lost my thought. It's coming back. It's coming back. Um, given that, like you're not new to chaos. You're not new to disruption. You're not new to all this shit.
No.
What I want to shine light on a little bit more before we get into the other topics you talked about
Yeah.
was addressing the fact that mental health is declining right now a lot. It's been
Yeah.
declining,
Yeah. Yeah.
and when you shared your story with me in brief about being kind of stuck in a little bit of a rut and like feeling
Yeah.
depressed, like you were kind of hesitant to even say I was depressed. You're like, it wasn't depression, it was. And I was like, bro, I feel like my shit that I've been going through off and on, like ups and downs, because it's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It feels like a depression. I know what depression
Right.
feels like. And I
Yeah.
used to
Yeah.
be, I used to think that depression wasn't real. It was just a state of mind. And even though we can say technically it's a state of mind, it's something that just kind of overtakes you, and like you don't know what to do with that shit. It's so foreign. It's so like, it just drags you like quicksand. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
so that's occurring everywhere across the board, right?
Absolutely. And I
Hell
can
yeah.
only imagine. If it's affecting someone or individuals like us,
Right.
imagine what it's doing to people who are not even into personal growth or self-development at all.
When I think about that, I think about, imagine what's happening to alphas in general, the alpha mindset,
Mhm.
right? It's affecting alphas like crazy. Who alphas are dominant, they handle their shit. Seems like they're actually under more stress to begin with, because that's just the alpha mindset. Like they constantly put themselves through stress to grow through it, right?
Yeah.
Imagine what's happening, what you were just saying. Imagine what's happening to other people who aren't
Yeah.
alphas,
Yeah.
right? Which is more than half the population. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's destroying people. And I think that what I want to highlight here, it's important to understand that what you're going through, what you've been through, Benny, what I've been through, what a lot of other people who are listening here, what we've all been through,
Yeah.
it's for a reason. And it's not to break you down, to keep you down, but it's to break you
Hmm.
down, to build you up.
Right. It's,
And
it's,
if you
it's
could,
kind of like to break you open.
oh, bro, yeah, to break you open. Yep, exactly, man. It's to break you open. And so I want to ask you a question about that, man. Like what, and after this, I want to tap into some other deeper shit that you were mentioning just minutes before here.
Yeah.
What has broken open for you through this,
Oh,
through all, not necessarily from your past, but like recently in the last year, and experiencing this form of depression and this like form of like feeling low and this like downward spiral. What has broken open for you? What aha moments have you had?
I, you know what? I can't get into this conversation without talking about plant medicine.
Plant medicine, do it, man. Fuck it.
So in 2018, when was it that we had our LSD experience? Was that 2018?
I want to say it was 2017.
Okay.
Yes.
So Before we had that experience, I was already doing research on psychedelics, on plant medicine. Okay, like over a year, because I just didn't want to dive into this shit. Um, I was kind of like just going off of the information that was coming to me, and it was leading me to more information and more documentaries, more testimonials, and I was just learning more about this plant medicine and how it could be beneficial for anyone, everyone. So when you called me, you're like, "Hey, dude, I got some, I got some LSD tabs. You down? Come down. It just be me and you. We'll chill at the pad, and we'll mastermind and we'll connect and we'll just do our thing." I'm like, all right, right. When I hung up the phone, okay, I shit you not. When I hung up the phone after that conversation, I was listening to an audio, and I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but um, in the audio, okay, right when I hung up the phone, he says, "Do it, do it, go all in, and do it." Right, and I'm like, oh man, like this is about to get real. Okay. I knew, like I just knew. Okay. Like I don't when things manifest and things happen, I don't look at it as, oh, that was a coincidence. Nah, I look at it as a direct fucking conversation with the universe, God, spirit guides, whoever that is currently with me, trying to guide me into a certain direction. So I'm like, all right, this is about to go down. Ended up going to your place, had a great experience, right? We had a great experience.
Yeah.
Um, Went for a lovely walk, went to the beach, had a beautiful experience at the beach, just felt like everything was connected, right? That was my first like real uh experience when it comes to, you know, uh psychedelics, right?
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced with LSD before when I was like 18, 17, but to party, right?
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, it's a different experience. This time it was more like I want whatever this substance that I'm gonna take. I'm My intention and my expectation is that it's gonna enlighten me. It's gonna show me things that maybe I wasn't aware of. So I went into it. I went into it with that type of intention and openness. A few months after that experience, my son's mother, who we're friends, she calls me and she goes, "I found an ayahuasca uh, place here in LA, and I don't want to go alone. Would you go with me?" Yes, right. The research already being done for me, right? So yes, right. This is coming in to my experience. So I go with her. There's maybe like a dozen people in this room. There's two or three shamans and like two assistants. They have a setting going. Everyone has their own little space, lights dim. They have, they're doing their chants and playing their little instruments and whatnot. Um, the first round goes around, right? Ayahuasca is this drink that they make, and it comes from the Amazon, and it's been around for thousands of years. So they come around with this. It's like a shot, right, of this ayahuasca drink, and everyone takes the shot. Boom, and within like a few minutes, like I could see some type of reaction happening in the people around me, right? They're going through something, and I don't feel nothing at all. And so the shaman, I tell the shaman, I'm like, "Hey, I'm not feeling nothing. There's nothing going on. Like I don't feel any kind of uh like I don't feel altered in any way, right?" He goes, really? He goes, okay. The next round that comes around, like 30 minutes later, he gives me a bigger shot. Just here, this should do it. Boom. Within 10 minutes, I feel an altered state coming on. And we all have these bowls, they call them purge bowls, right? And it's like
Yeah.
it's part of the cleansing process, letting go of the physical toxins from your body. And so I start purging into my purge bowl. And I'm like, oh man, like starting feeling a certain way. And like I lay down and I feel this overwhelming calmness just come over my whole body. And there's people around me, they're crying, they're making weird noises. And it's really like they're dealing with some shit, right? But it was just this calmness, loving, like motherly type of energy. And I'm laying there and I'm just kind of like observing, looking around, and it was like this energy was telling me everything's gonna be all right. You don't have to worry about nothing. It was almost as if this plant medicine was introducing itself and telling me that it was okay to come to her, that it was okay, that this is good, right? This is just the beginning. And I knew that in that moment that I was there to experience that, but I was also there to support that soul that came into my life and that was a part of my life, right? Because she needed some things to get through, right? And things to let go of. So what happened was that, so when you go to this event, right, you can't leave. You got to stay there till the next morning. So as it starts wearing down, the immediate thought that came into my mind was that this gets deeper. This goes way deeper than what I experienced. And I remembered that I met someone at one of your gatherings that had psilocybin mushrooms. And I
I did.
had his number at your at one of your
Oh no shit.
gatherings. Okay. I met him. Um, and I remember I had his number and something was telling me that I gotta go deeper. I gotta go deeper into this realm that I was just introduced. Like the LSD was one thing, but the ayahuasca and the mushrooms is a whole different experience.
Yeah.
And and so I was I just had this hunch, had the nudge, right? I was like propelled in this direction to like seek out these psilocybin mushrooms because the research was already there. I was in this moment. I was experiencing ayahuasca and it was so loving and so caring. And it was like pulling me into her, telling me, come to me. I got something for you. And so that morning, I text the guy that I met at your little function, your gathering. Hey, man, do you have any mushrooms available? Yeah, how much you want? Let me get 3.5 grams. I go to his spot, drive, I go directly to his spot when, we're free to go. That very next morning, okay, this happened on a Friday night into Saturday morning. I go pick up the mushrooms, the psilocybin, go to my house, pack up my camping gear, load up my dog, and I go straight into the mountains.
I never knew this shit. I
Okay.
never knew this story, dude.
Okay. I go straight into the mountains, deep into the mountains. and there's no one else around me. There's nobody else around me. By the time the closest person to me was maybe a half a mile away or so, right? I'm alone in the forest, up in the mountains. And I'm about to go deep with these 3.5 grams that I've never experienced before, not knowing what I was about to get into. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there was this driving force within me that said, this is it. I don't know what I'm about to experience, but this is it. This is what I was drawn to. Okay. By the time I get up into the mountain, I hike my camping gear up to this camping spot where, like I said, I'm secluded. There's no one else around me. There's no other campfires or any noise or anything around me. It's me and my dog. I get a fire going, get the fire lit. It's already starting to get dark. I get my tent up and going. I get set up, right? And before I take the 3.5 grams, it's already getting dark. I walk around, and this is without even knowing like how things should be done and how settings should be set up, and what should be done in these type of experiences. I walk around the whole campsite with I had some sage, and I simply just started praying to bless and protect this space, to clear this space of any negative energy, and to bring in light and love. And I walked around this campsite saying these prayers, asking for protection, guidance. Um, so I sit down and I take the 3.5 grams
All at once.
all at once.
Ooh, that's good shit.
Right. So I take it down. I think I usually, like, now I grind it up. I don't really like chewing on the mushrooms.
Yeah.
They don't taste all that great. Um, so I like to just get it down and get it in. I'm not too sure how I did it that time, but I took all 3.5 grams. And within 45 minutes, things start to get slow. Okay. Like my movement, I'm like, whoa, like something is going on here. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to be sitting or standing or even trying to walk around. Like, something's telling me that I need to lay my ass down, right? So I stand up, and like shit just like completely different than the ayahuasca, right? Shit just starts fucking like, oh my, holy shit, what the fuck is going on? Something is happening, right? Like, I feel altered like a mother.
3.5, bro, is fucking solid.
Yeah.
3.5
Yeah.
is solid as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this is my first time, okay? And
especially your first time.
I'm alone up in the mountains, okay? Don't forget that. And it's dark. And me and my dog. I attempt to stand up, and within like 45 minutes to an hour, I get mm, this feeling of wanting to throw up, right? To purge. And I remember what I learned in the ayahuasca ceremony, that if I feel like purging, just let it out. Don't try to hold it in, just let it out. So I walk over and I make my way to, a tree nearby. I lean over and I purge. Then I come back over and I sit down. I'm feeling a little better. I'm like, damn, but shit is still like moving slow, right? Shit just got slow. My steps, everything just starts moving real slow. And then I can hear on the side, I can hear in the background, I can hear, and my dog is eating my mushrooms that I threw up. Okay. So my dog took mushrooms unintentionally. Okay. I didn't do that on purpose. All right. But my dog went in with me that night. And I don't know how much he ate, but I pulled him and I tried to get him like away from that. I'm like, all right, I could barely even stand, let alone try to control my dog. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna go into the tent and we're just gonna let this ride out. However, it's gonna ride out. I'm in the tent and like shit just starts getting heavy. I'm talking about dark, heavy. I start feeling this dark energy like I've never felt before. I'm talking about like ugly, heavy, like the visuals, like everything was just, it was scary. Okay. Like I was scared for a certain moment in that experience because I didn't know like how this was gonna unfold. I didn't know if that was gonna be the whole experience or what. All I knew is that I didn't like what the fuck I was feeling. And so I'm feeling like this dark, heavy energy. And I'm like, fuck, did I pick a spot that's like cursed or something? Like I'm like, I got all this shit going on in my head, right? And I'm like, I came to the conclusion that yeah, maybe this place is cursed and there's some dark shit going on here, maybe from the past, and maybe I don't know what the fuck. But I need to get the fuck out of this tent. So I don't know how I do it, but I'll make my way out of the tent and I bring the dog with me, right? And I'm kind of like stumbling and I'm walking out into the field in the middle of like whatever, right? Nowhere. Just walking out and there's no trees in this field. And so I'm walking out and I'm just like, the ground looks alive. The trees, the bushes look alive. And they are alive, right? But they look even more alive. Like they're communicating and they're like reaching out to you.
Yeah,
Okay. And
yeah,
it's like moving almost, right? And it's like, holy shit, like this is fucking weird. And so I walk out into the middle of this empty space and I look up into the sky and it was a clear sky. And oh my God, it was as if I was seeing a massive grid of all the stars connected. And as I was witnessing this connection, like this dome or this interconnection of everything, this connection became a feeling and a knowingness within me in that moment. And in that moment, I was everything. I was the stars, I was the trees, I was the bushes, I was the bears, I was the fucking whatever the fuck that was out there. Whatever beings, I was everything. And I had this overwhelming power, just like booming through my body, bro. Like an intense, like I just became God or something. Like where fear and doubt and that ugly energy that I was feeling inside the tent became non-existent. There was no fear and there was no doubt. There was none of that. Just pure power, beautiful, divine, loving, flowing power. And as I look back at the tent, this download came in, right? And I'm looking back at the tent and I'm thinking of the darkness that I was just experiencing just moments ago. This dark, heavy, ugly, scary energy that I was just experiencing a few steps ago, a few moments ago, that was dominating my being. But now I feel completely empowered, extremely empowered. I'm looking back at the tent, I'm looking back at the campsite, and I'm like, this download, right? As I mentioned earlier, this download comes in, boom. Respect the darkness because darkness is there. And darkness is powerful in its own right. Acknowledge this darkness, see the darkness, respect this darkness, because if you don't respect this darkness, you will continue repeating the bullshit that this darkness causes you to create. When you feed into it, when you give your power to it. And it was like, boom, I came into this realization. Now I'm looking at the fucking tent. I'm looking at this so-called darkness that's over there in the campsite. I'm like, you know what? I respect you. I acknowledge you. But you ain't fucking dominating tonight. And it was boom. I walk back to the campsite, go back into the tent, and I'm laying there. And my dog is tripping. Okay. Remember, my dog ate the mushrooms. So the campfire is still lit, and we're camped under my tent is underneath this big oak tree, right? This pine tree, and the light from the fire is flickering through the branches and the leaves, and you can see through the top of my tent. So like it looks pretty trippy, and my dog is like tripping the f out, right? And he's tripping me out, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling real good. And and I looked at my dog, and one thing that there was a worry that I had going up into the mountain was because it was the first time I stood out there in the mountains with my dog, especially doing mushrooms. So I had a worry of like him getting lost or him getting loose and taken off. And I'm laying there, and as I'm laying there in full confidence, full knowingness that I'm connected to everything and that I'm guided and protected and that everything is all right. I looked at my dog. I unhooked his leash. I opened the tent and I said, if you want to go, go. And he took off into the darkness. Boom. 30 minutes later, you can hear him ruffling through the branches and the bushes, and he comes back. And I'm just in this state of like, yeah, like this is it, right? This is the way life should be. Without fear, without doubt, without worry, without all this fucking negative programming bullshit. Just complete, like it shattered everything. It shattered my ego. It shattered all disbeliefs. It shattered limiting fucking programs. It shattered everything. And I was in this state of just being this light, infinite power. And as I'm laying there, it starts taking me through all of my relationships. Each one, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters, all significant relationships. And it was showing me how to repair or how to heal or what I needed to do to establish a better connection with these people. And it also showed me who I needed to let go of. Right? And when that phase was done, it took me into my dreams and it showed me the vision. And in that moment, I felt like I was Moses up in the mountain. And I was about to come down this mountain and share this vision, this message with the people, right? To inspire and empower billions of people, to be a light, to help others remember this essence, this power that's within us and all around us, always, at all times. All we got to do is just tap into it, right? And be open to learning about. And I'm not saying this so you, for those who are listening, you go into the mountain and go take 3.5 grams of psilocybin mushrooms. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that start doing the research. And understand that there is a beautiful, beautiful, uh, a beautiful light, a beautiful healing, a beautiful knowingness that comes from these plant medicines. Just start doing the research. Um, from that night, that moment, I knew that my life, and this was uh, 2018, right? I knew that my life wasn't going to be the same. Shit was going to change. My message was going to change. Everything was going to change. And I shit you not, Rob. I shit you not. This is like in the morning, okay, as I was packing up my stuff, I'm feeling so blessed and so like, wow, like, did that just really happen? Like, just blown away, okay? Feeling really good. And I'm rolling up my tent. I'm on the ground and I'm rolling up my tent. And I look up, and on the tree that I was camped next to is a big mushroom
What the fuck?
that is spray painted in white that I did not see when I was setting up camp. I didn't realize it was there until the morning I was leaving. And when I saw that, I was like, yep, this is it.
Yep.
This is it. Whatever I stepped into right now, this is going to be a part of my life. It's definitely going to be a part of my life for the rest of my life. And from that moment, every other month that year, like every 2 months or whatever the case might be, 3 months, I will go up into the mountains by myself, sometimes by myself and sometimes with the dog. The first few times I just went by myself, right? After that experience. And I will have these uh, experiences, and they were all different. Uh, they weren't all the same. Like I didn't experience all that darkness and craziness that like I did the first time, on the second, third time, fourth time. I experienced more, like it was almost like I released all that and I let it go. And it was just tapping me into the knowingness of this infinite consciousness that is existent always, this field, tapping into God's essence. And after, you know, the fifth time, sixth time, I gone up there over a dozen times at this point. But after the sixth time going up there, uh, I realized that, and this is before the whole pandemic started happening, right? It was telling me, it was showing me, I was getting this feeling that this, whatever's happening up here, whatever experiences that I'm having up here in the mountains, it's preparing me for something. It is preparing me for something. And I don't know what it is. And then when 2019 hit and all this shit started happening, boom, I knew exactly what it was preparing me for this fucking shit that's going on right now. To be grounded in the eye of the storm, to share, to be a conduit, to be a messenger of this energy for other people to feed off of, so that they may find a way to ground themselves and align their own energy, mind, body, and spirit. To do this work as chaos and whatever's going on, all the negative programming and the radio and the TV, well, all this shit's going on, this medicine has prepared me and continues to prepare me for this, for what we're doing here, for what's taking place right now in this conversation that we're having.
Got it. Super got it. Dude, damn. Thanks for sharing that, man. God damn, that was a goddamn good story. And like what I sum up from that, what you just said, is number one, first thing that pops up is respect the darkness,
Mm-hmm.
respect it, and in a way own it, because like the darkness
Yeah.
is a part of you too as well. Like you can't get away
Mm-hmm.
from that shit.
Yep.
respect it and own it. Don't run from it, because if you run from it and you fear it, it'll chase your ass down. Like
Hmm.
it's not going anywhere. You can't escape yourself. Wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah.
That's a part of what I heard from what you were
Yeah.
saying too.
Hmm.
Also, it's also understand that like fear. Um, I mean, fear is a motherfucker. Fear doesn't have to be permanent. Fear is just an indicator, and it's not. You don't want to fear anything. It's you want to be able to step into, like, if you we all fear stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's there for a reason. It's there as a guiding system. I think it gets we get lost in fear when we allow it to consume us.
Yeah, yeah. And so instead of it consuming us, well, in essence, consume it.
Yeah.
Allow it to be, and have you show you the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And lastly, what I got from especially your story that you're sharing is really connect with the God in everything, or the essence of
Yes. Everything, bro. And
infinite
the
intelligence.
trees,
Everything.
the insects, the spider that you want to smash and kill. Like, yeah, it changes everything, bro. It changed the way I eat.
Uh
It
huh.
changed the way I think. It changed the way I feel. It changed the way I perceive. It shattered all my beliefs, um, as I mentioned before, and it brought me into a state of knowingness.
Yeah. Oh, and lastly too, man, like what ties into what you're talking about here, because you mentioned like when you're on your back and you're just like you let your dog loose and you're like, I'm connected to everything. It doesn't even
Yeah.
matter. I'm connected to everything. And it's
Mm-hmm.
understanding that connection. Like when you
Mm-hmm.
understand your connection to all that is, it really shit makes sense. You're like, the stuff that I was fearing, the stuff that I was worrying about, the stuff that I was stressing about, that doesn't make sense anymore, because when I understand that I'm connected to everything, I can
Mm-hmm.
literally call it into existence, or I understand how this process works. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna have ebb and flow of everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your dog's gonna take off, and I know my dog's gonna come back. I know
Yeah.
that business might decline, and I know it's gonna come back. I know that society will decline, and I know it'll come back.
Mm-hmm.
I know my
Mm-hmm.
health might decline at certain points,
Mm-hmm.
and I know it'll come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah,
In the same way to look at, I know that there's a bunch of negative programming that's taking place right now, but it's going to shift. It's already shifting.
it is.
There's no stopping this awakening that's taking place right now. There's no stopping it,
Yeah.
period. I don't give a shit. There's no stopping it.
Too many damn people that are waking up and that are realizing their truth. And like the more people you have, it's like if you look at a like a birthday cake with a bunch of candles on it. If you have one candle on it, you have one candle on it. But if you have a shitload of candles that are being lit simultaneously, you have a goddamn bright ass birthday cake.
Oh, yeah.
So if you compare that to the world, like to the globe, to the world, there are a lot of people who are lit up right now, who are
Mm-hmm.
seeing the truth, who are tapping into their fears, who are tapping into their worries, who are actually waking up to their shadow self that's been pulling the
Yeah.
strings behind the scenes, and especially to the systems that the systems that are designed to pull the strings. Like their
Oh,
intention
yeah.
are to pull the strings to manipulate you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in closing, man, is there anything that you would like to say, especially when it pertains? I mean, you could say whatever you want, but especially when it
Yeah.
pertains to fear and to mental health, um, and dealing with your own darkness, man, because you
Yeah.
know that shit better than a lot of other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Number one, take time to yourself, really. Take a break. Like, get out into nature. Get out into nature. Allow nature's beauty and power to remind you of the beauty and power within you. Breathe. Be conscious of your breathing. We are meant to breathe in this beautiful oxygen, this life force energy. We're not meant to breathe in carbon dioxide. We're not, like, no. When you go out to nature, leave the mask in the car. Breathe. Take some nice, deep, loving breaths. Oxygenize your body. Okay. Um, like just recently, I told you, Bob, I stopped going to work beginning of this month. Just I didn't feel it. I didn't feel like going. There's too much shit going on within myself, and I felt like I needed a break, and I needed to just be on my own. But this last week, every day before this call, I will go outside around noon in my backyard, and I will lay on the ground for 30 minutes to an hour and have the earth, the energy from the earth, the energy from the sun's rays just flow through my body, and the energy that flows from, that's all around me, to allow it to ground me, to align me, and to guide me, to heal me. And I just lay there and just let go. I wasn't thinking about what I was going to say in this interview. I wasn't like, no, like, here I am. I'm your conduit. I'm your messenger. What would you like me to share? And here I am. I'm sharing what flowed, what came, right? Um, and I'm grounded. I'm not in a state of worry. I'm not in any other state, but in my own uh, in my own power, right? In my own love. Get out into nature, spend some time alone, eat better. Start reducing the toxic food you put into your body. Stop eating fast food. Start eating more fruits and veggies and herbs. Eat foods that are grown from this beautiful earth that we live on, that this earth, this planet provides all the medicine we will ever need. All you got to do is pick it, wash it, and eat it. And don't forget to bless it and give thanks. And
Absolutely.
feed your body with this good energy. You feed your body with this good energy, you don't have to worry about sickness. I haven't, the last, ever since I changed my diet, right? I changed before in the past, it used to be like 95% of junk food, crap, fast food, McDonald's, and all this other fucking shit. And I would get sick at least minimum 3 times a year, minimum. And out of those 3 times, I would get laid out for a week where I can't move. Sometimes they had to take me to the hospital because I was so bad. Like, who knows? Like, if I got sick like that now, they will probably fucking lay me out. Oh, that's a $30,000 paycheck. Put his ass down. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well, Benny, I want to close this out, and this is the last
yeah.
thing here. Do you have any
Okay.
final words? Because I'm actually going to read your post
Uh-huh.
that had
Okay.
me. You know what I'm talking about? The post off of
Yep. 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 I got
so
you. I
just to
got you.
kind of create some context around this. I read Benny's post here on Facebook, and I shared it to my own page on Instagram because it was something I deeply connected with, and it's actually something what you were just talking about right now. So it all segues perfectly into each other.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then, Ben, if you want to say anything after that, that's fine. If not, I'm going to close it out. Okay. And this is what I'm
Beautiful.
going to read here. These are Benny's words here. Okay. It says, they don't want you to know. They want you to believe everything they tell you, everything they show you. Today, I was riding in a friend's car and he had the radio on. I do not listen to the radio or watch the news. Every station had a commercial promoting the vaccine bullshit. They are going hard with this programming. I found myself changing the channel multiple times. I honestly didn't realize how bad this shit is. They're constantly pumping fear into the minds and hearts of millions of people on every radio station and news channel. FYI, eating food that grows or that's grown from the earth will keep your body healthy and free from disease and all types of viruses. They want a society that is dumbed down, a society that doesn't question their authority. They literally want a zombie-like society, and I see that shit happening. People believing everything they hear and see on the radio and television. This programming is real, my brothers and sisters. Learn about the subconscious mind and how it works. They are repeating this bullshit on the radio and television for a reason. A wise and well informed nation is dangerous to a system that has dark and evil intentions. Boom.
Beautiful. Who
Oh, my
wrote that
friend.
shit?
Fucking this guy, fucking Benny Esco. Brother, I want to say thank you so much, man, for being on here, man, and sharing your story, dude. That means a fucking lot to me, and I know a lot of people are going to benefit from this, man. I really do.
Thank you,
How?
man.
Yeah, dude.
Thank
Fuck
you.
yeah, man. Thank you for being real, man, and being vulnerable and sharing your shit. I learned some new stuff about you, man, that I didn't know about. And I
Beautiful.
appreciate you being here, man. How can we find you? How can my people find you?
Yeah. You can find me on Instagram under Benny Esco, BENNYESCO. I'll be coming out with a podcast soon, and Rob right here is going to be helping me out with that.
Hell yeah.
So sooner, within a short period of time, you'll find me in multiple places.
Do you have an email just in case if people want to reach out to you via email?
Yeah, yeah. The email is BennyEsco11 at gmail.com.
Got it. I'll put them all in the show notes too as well, so they can reach out to you, man. If they have any questions, are you open to people asking you questions?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool, man. Brother, I want to say thank you, man. I love you, dude. I appreciate you, man. I'm in Miami. You're in LA, but it seems like we're fucking right next door, man. And I really appreciate you, bro.
You too, man. I'm grateful and thankful for this interaction.
Hell yeah, man. Take care, brother.
All right, bro.